questions when he's ready. But yeah, I think we can go ahead and get started now. Would love to just, maybe give a quick intro about yourself, what your role is over at HOM, and maybe we can go into the vision for the game after that.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Tristan, and I'm the managing director at Scrice Studios. Scrice is the studio that's developing Mavia, and it's the only game we're working on, so it's an exclusive title. Consider us the supercell of the play to earn. That's really what we're going for. That level of quality, that level of gameplay and community. And my role is mainly on the crypto and the business side. So art and development is handled by Avon and our CTO, but for me, it's handling some of the marketing things, but a lot of the product and a lot of the crypto side of things, because the game involves a lot of blockchain technology, believe it or not. I mean, there's the game side of things, which a lot of it takes place off chain, but the on chain things that happen, like the renting bases, the NFTs, that's what I really like to get my hands dirty in.
Awesome. Maybe, yeah, I'd love to hear more about, I guess, your experience in Web3, in blockchain. Where did you get started? What drove you into the crazy rabbit hole we're all in?
Well, I've been in crypto since I was a kid. I mean, I was 14 when I first got involved. I have emails dating back to 2012. I was involved in Cryptsy, Mt. Gox. I was one of the original. I was in Coinbase really early, so I've been in this space for a while, and it's really exciting to see it evolve. I did not, when I was a kid and I was growing up and seeing it crash so many times, I thought so many times, maybe this is the end for crypto. It was just a fun experiment, but it kept coming back with a vengeance. More and more people believed in it, and now, gaming as a kid was always fun, and seeing how many people are getting behind it, like brands that we all know, and honestly, NFTs changed the game a lot too, because now everyone can kind of find something on the artistic side that they like and appreciate. So crypto's just really taking over. Web3's taking over, and Clash of Clans was one of my favorite games ever. And I thought if we brought Clash of Clans to Web3, it would be a game changer. So our co-founders and I, we all spoke. We all, over several months, came up with the idea, and here we are today.
Incredible. Yeah, wow. Mt. Gox, 14 years old. That I can't even imagine what that's like. Like, 14, I was playing World of Warcraft all day and, not eating or sleeping. So,
No, it was crazy back then, man. Like I was mining Litecoin, script mining, but that was back when there was Quark. I don't know if you ever heard of a coin called Quark, but that was the first big hit I ever had. And everything was so new. There was no rules. It's like NFTs now, but it was a much smaller community just with coins. There was a new coin every day, kind of like what we saw with Uniswap and PancakeSwap. But back then it was just forks of Bitcoin and then Litecoin and then all these other coins. So it's always been this space has always been the wild wild west, but it just keeps moving so quickly. But what's always stayed the same is the few projects that really focus on quality and building a good product, they always stay, and they do last.
that's awesome. Yeah, I would love to learn more about how you and you said you wanted to bring Clash of Clans to Web3. You wanted to bring it to NFTs. How did you and your founders, meet each other, come together, and agree on that vision, and know that you guys could even have a chance at doing it?
Yeah, so Nyan, who's our CTO, I'd worked with him for over a year prior, just on various projects and smart contracts that I was also learning smart contract development, so I learned a lot from him too. But he taught me a lot about how we can really stretch the potential of NFTs to like the next level. So I needed that technical understanding of really what they're capable of and how we can push the limits. And Avon, when I met him, he'd come from a gaming and a art background. So obviously art's so important. If you look at our key graphics and the characters and everything we got going on in the game, one of the main assets we have is art. And art is something that is going to, in my opinion, make or break this game. So speaking with him and just, first of all, meeting him and seeing his past work and seeing what he's involved with and bringing that to a central vision of making the biggest, we didn't really know what it'd be, but we knew it'd be one of the biggest blockchain games. And then, I mean, one of the biggest mobile games in the world is Clash of Clans. So for us, it seemed like a perfect fit. I mean, what's a game that can be play to earn and play to earn that doesn't require you to be online all the time to engage with it? It can kind of work behind the scenes. Well, that would involve something that's not just a first-person shooter, right? That would involve something that involves building. So what's a mobile game where you're building? It's obvious. It comes Clash of Clans. And then when you have that idea in your head, the rest kind of falls into place. Oh, we can make each base an NFT. And all right, to upgrade the base, it requires the play to earn currency. So they're earning the play to earn currency, but now they're putting it back into their base and it burns it. Now let's balance, the in-game economics. Let's add heroes, which are a core component of the game, but let's make them separate NFTs. So one idea kind of led to another, and it kind of evolved into what we have right now. But the first version of the game was completely different from what it is now. Even the art, like if you look at the original art of the game, it looks very different from the latest we have in the Discord. So it's been evolving pretty quickly too.
Yeah, I want to talk about that and the process that you went through to, make those changes, continue to improve before the game's even out. But maybe let's back up a little bit first. A lot of people in here, probably are coming for a Clash of Clans type game, have experience playing that. But I'm aware that there could be some people who are just in the NFT space, who have never played Clash of Clans before, and I'd love to hear, how does the game even work, and then what kind of are there any major differences from Clash of Clans and Heroes of Mavia?
Yeah, sure. So I'll just give a brief rundown of how the game works, and then I'll compare it to Clash of Clans. So Mavia is a AAA mass multiplayer online base builder game. Basically, what that means in layman's terms is each player gets a plot of land, and each plot of land is the exact same size, and you build a base on this land. The base has walls, it has turrets, it has a central headquarters, all these different buildings that mine gold, mine oil. This is your home. And it starts out very tiny. It starts out with a small level 1 miniature base. That's what everyone starts on the same playing field. But as you get more resources and build your army, which also comes from your base, you can attack your neighbors and other bases. You can steal their resources. And over time, as you put in effort and grow your base, you can upgrade your walls and upgrade your turrets and upgrade your army. And then you can fight tougher opponents and grow your entire base and economy. And eventually what that leads to is a lot of different types of troops and different types of strategies that you can employ when you're attacking. And the goal is basically to grow as big as possible and reach the highest level as you can. So that's what Clash of Clans is too, on a basic level. What makes us different is all the aspects of Clash of Clans that used to be just on your account are now placed onto NFTs. That's the core difference. So instead of you having a username and password, you log in, all your progress is stored on an NFT, on a token. And whereas in Clash of Clans, when you got bored and you wanted to leave the game, or you just stopped playing it, that was it. Your account's done. Or, your base stops evolving and growing. In the case of Mavia, it's all in a token. It's all in an NFT. So when one player wants to pass the torch, so to speak, to the next, they can sell their NFT on the Mavia marketplace. And it is valuable because a lot of time was put into it and a lot of resources were put into it in the form of Ruby. And Ruby is a cryptocurrency that you earn playing the game. So whether you bought Ruby and put it into the game or you earned it, resources, time, and money was put into your base. So it makes sense to kind of capture that value and pass it on to the next player,
Wow, that gets me so excited. I didn't even really think about the possibility of that. Like when you're done playing, you can pass it on. Because there's so many games, like WoW, Maple Story, pretty much any game with a ranking or gear and things like that. You have people that buy or sell accounts, but it's so difficult to actually go through that process, and the games usually don't want it to happen, and there's account sharing you get banned for, all this different stuff. But being able to just have that seamlessly and to own everything on your plot is such a game changer.
Yeah, no, that's really where NFTs are going to change gaming, in my opinion, because not every game is suited for play to earn. So Mavi is a play to earn game, which means there's the game aspect to it, but there's also an earning aspect to it, because as you play, you can earn Ruby, which is a crypto. But in my opinion, that model doesn't fit everyone. If someone makes a God of War for crypto, as an example, I don't know if every single person you kill, you should be earning crypto, but there always is a use case, in my opinion, for implementing NFTs, because all that work and achievements you make in the game, it goes onto the NFT and you can transfer that to other players, and that is valuable. Now, how much is that worth? I don't know. It depends on the player, it depends on the game, but there always is a use case for an NFT capturing all that value, time, and effort you put into the game so that someone else can use it after you.
Yeah, that is so true and such a great point. I think a lot of games try to pigeonhole themselves into, we got to make the next play to earn game. We got to make sure people are making money, and it leads to a lot of really bad games, honestly. And I think, more and more we're hearing this conversation that we're having right now, and people are starting to get, fed up with the crappy games that are just Ponzi schemes that last for, a couple months maybe, and more gamers and people in the crypto space are demanding that the games are actually fun. And the beauty of Web3 is that we're the ones building it, right? So it's something that can actually happen, and I'm seeing it start to move in that direction. I don't think we're quite there yet, but maybe here's Mavia can help lead that charge, and we'll have some games that aren't pay to earn, but can utilize NFTs in a really cool way.
Yeah, if it's not fun, it's more of a job, right? They're going there they only care about the money. It has to be so fun, you'd play it even if there was no play to earn, and the play to earn is like an extra incentive. But we really do see them as equal. We want to make a very fun game, but we also want to make a robust, sustainable economy that allows the play to earn system to last.
Yep. Yep. I think, or Jake, do you have something?
Yeah, I think that's awesome to hear. The focuses that you guys are placing on each of these, each of these aspects of what makes a successful play to earn game. I'm curious if obviously you mentioned you want to make the Clash of Clans of the blockchain, but I'm curious if there's any play to earn games that you guys are taking inspiration from when building your tokenomics and balancing out your economy in your game.
Well, we use first of all, we don't look at too many games in the space right now as a shining example of what it should be, because we haven't seen a game where the token hasn't really crashed, at least to a large extent. But we have taken inspiration, obviously, from Axie. They were the originals. They did a great job, and I don't even think they thought they would do as well as they did. So we have nothing but positive things to say about that team. And a lot of the other games, we're going to see how they do when they come out. But there's not too many good examples of a play to earn game that absolutely killed it, and all the players, will say that is sustainable. Like, I don't see that happening right now. So, not really. We've seen a lot of examples of what not to do. I'll tell you that much, but I don't know about what to do. But that's why I think so many people are excited about our game, because we brought in so many new concepts to play to earn, and it's really making people think. It's probably one of the toughest problems to solve, because video games, while it's tough to make a game, it's mainly in the gameplay features and the art. There's not too many questions around how do we build a successful game in Web 2. No one scratches their head and says, how do we monetize this? It's very clear. There's so many different paths. Now, there's better options than others. A lot of people don't like loot boxes. Skins do well. People don't like the subscriptions as much. That's an evolving gaming trend. But it's always pretty straightforward, your options. But with Web3, it's like all uncharted territory. So we have to take a step back and say, how do we make this sustainable? How do we make the Ruby economy and the play to earn economy last? And we have to look at all the examples of what people have done, and we have to look at how it's performed. Because once you're out there, you're out there. You can have an idea or a concept, but the proof comes out very quickly after you launch. And we think the model we made, which to a large extent no one's really ever done, will do well. We really do believe that.
Awesome. What blockchain are you building on?
ETH. We're on ETH. We're on L1 ETH at the moment, but we're going to be, for scaling purposes, adding Arbitrum, which is an L2 solution. I'm not sure if anyone here knows Arbitrum, but it's not too talked about in play to earn. I don't think any games have built on it. But we think they did a great job. We know the team. And there was a couple other options we've explored, like obviously Polygon, there's BSC, there's a cheaper, but ultimately we decided on Ethereum for the token core. But Ruby, because it's able to be minted and burned all the time, we're actually able to add cross-chain support. So players will be able to withdraw Ruby basically on ETH or BSC or maybe other chains as well. So that will be multi-chain. So there's actually technically a user could come into Mavia without ever touching ETH with the Ruby model I just explained. They could buy ETH on BSC, deposit it into their account, rent a base, play with their wallet, and then leave, all without touching ETH. But the NFTs and the Mavia token will be on Ethereum, L1 and L2.
Awesome. Maybe we can go into a little more depth on the two currencies and how those are going to play a part in the game.
Sure. Yeah. So the Mavia token is the core governance token, and basically, it's going to represent ownership in the DAO. It has governance rights. There's a lot of staking features that we've added that we haven't even announced yet that go along with Mavia token and will give you rights to make decisions in the game. Ruby is the main play to earn currency. That's what you earn and what you spend in the game. Ruby's used basically every feature you could imagine in a mobile game that you used to spend on consumables and one-time upgrades and speed-ups. That's all what Ruby's for. And you're also earning it on successful battles. There's wagered matches, so when you're fighting other opponents, you guys both put up a certain amount of Ruby, winner takes all. That will be all done with Ruby. So Ruby's the very dynamic, multifaceted coin. Mavia is the bigger structural coin.
So you'll be able to trade both currencies between players?
Yeah, they're both cryptos. They both can be traded freely, just like NFTs. We have absolutely no control over, we can't throttle. We can't. Some people have said, well, are there username and passwords in the game? And if there's a bad player, you can just ban them with the email. But that kind of defeats the purpose of Web3. And maybe that's on the more conservative end of Web3, but we think all the rights should be owned by that individual NFT owner and the token holders and the Ruby holders. So we're placing a lot of the core functionality of our back-end infrastructure into the tokens themselves. But yeah, to answer your question, Mavia and Ruby, NFTs, they can all be traded freely amongst players.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And I love your dedication to Web3. I really think you have to fully commit for it to really make a difference and stand out. And it sounds like that's what you guys are doing.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even see honestly a need for emails in Web3. Like, I'm thinking about it because we used to collect emails for the whitelist, and we were sending people like emails saying, "Congrats, you've been whitelisted." In the future, we were gonna have some promotions, like, "Hey guys, we're having a new staking program," and emailed. I don't see the need. We have Discord, we have Telegram. That's where they go for updates. They don't need to log in with their email. So I'm thinking we just abolish emails altogether, in even the game. They can receive push notifications. There's Discord. There's a lot of personalized things that are just with their wallet. Ownership of the wallet is key. If they lost control of their wallet, they would have lost their tokens and NFTs anyways. So, I mean, we might as well put everything into the wallet's control, just like a decentralized app.
I love that. I'm in full agreement. I hate when Web3 websites ask me, well, any website really, but especially Web3 websites that ask me for my email. It's not needed. I don't need to send me a bunch of spam,
I feel
right?
exposed. I feel kind of doxxed, So we may add optional alerts if you really want to add your email to get a notification when your base is attacked or if your stake is unlocked, but it won't be required because I don't really see the need for emails at all.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement there. Down with emails. We do not need those anymore.
Especially after that OpenSea thing, right? With the phishing attack. I mean, it almost is like a liability.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's very prone to phishing attacks. And very easily manipulated. So glad you guys are helping to pioneer, and hopefully others will follow in your footsteps there. Maybe we touch briefly on what led you to Arbitrum over some of the other chains that you mentioned before. maybe Immutable X, I think a lot of people probably assume that's where, most of the games are going to gravitate towards.
Well, we know the Immutable X team. I've spoken to them. They're very good. It was actually a very, very close tie between the two, but to be honest, it was mainly because Crypto.com, OKX, and Binance had already integrated Arbitrum, and we had already started developing on Arbitrum. So it would have taken us an extra couple months to make the switch, we believe. So we weren't really prepared to make that switch. So it was because we already had started on Arbitrum, but it was I'd say they're about on the same level, honestly, Arbitrum and Immutable X. But they also are built differently. Immutable X is a little more, I wouldn't say centralized, but the structure is different. That's kind of out of my view. The CTO made that call, but Immutable X was another option, very good option. A lot of good games are building on there. But in the case of Arbitrum, let me give you an example of how someone could enter the whole ecosystem and exit without touching ETH L1. I go on Binance, I buy ETH from my bank account. I just buy cash to ETH. I click withdraw to my MetaMask as L2. So I click withdraw as Arbitrum. It sends to my MetaMask as Arbitrum. Now I didn't even touch L1. No bridges, nothing. Now I go into Mavia with the token. I play. I cash out with Mavia L2 and deposit it back to Binance. I never touched L1. That means my gas fees were 10 times cheaper the whole time. I didn't have to go across a bridge. So by the time the game comes out, I think L2s will be a lot more mainstream. And if that's the case, it should be very easy for people to not have to get wrecked by those high gas fees, So the fact that Arbitrum's already there made it much easier for us.
Yeah, you read my mind. That was exactly the question I was going to ask, to talk about the on ramp and off ramp. And, for a game like this, it's so important that you can get new users easily onboarded, and they don't have to figure out all the kind of intricacies with L1 and L2s and getting them across each bridge and the time it takes for everything. So being able to just have that easy on ramp and off ramp, I think is, one of the most positive things you guys have going for you. And it's really going to change a lot of these games if they have that ability to or not.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's all about the user experience. And if we're able to read, because our backend can really do whatever we want. If we say we want you to accept L1 NFTs and L2 NFTs, it makes no difference. Then someone could trade the Arbitrum NFTs if we mint on Arbitrum in the future for cheaper gas, or they could buy on OpenSea the L1s and it'd work the same. So if we build it like that, then there's actually no friction at all. We want to make it so there's no bridges to cross. You don't have to cross any bridges.
I am all for that. Bridges are great, but they're only great when necessary, right? So if we can just make it a smooth, streamlined process, that is even better. And you mentioned timeline as well. So maybe we focus on that for a second. What is the timeline that you have for the game, for the sale, everything coming up?
Well, the first main milestone's this Friday at 10 a.m. We have our mint. We're very excited for that. We've been working very hard on making sure that's secure and smooth. We built our own custom UI. I know and every NFT site has, the button and stuff colored differently, but we went above and beyond with the user experience. You're going to be able to mint, select the amount you want to mint, depending on your allocation, and then it shows you all of your NFTs right there. You can view your NFT, your land, just like OpenSea, and then you can click the button View on OpenSea. You can see your neighbors, so you can see who's next to you on the island. So we haven't even shown this yet. We're going to release a tutorial of minting probably either tomorrow morning or tomorrow evening. But so that's the main first milestone. After that, we have upcoming. We have land staking. Land staking is a big one. We're going to be adding a lot of value. The first people we have to provide value to is the landholders. And what I mean by that is we want to add governance rights to landholders, staking. We want to add a lot of features basically to the UI and the website and the community and the Discord to land NFT holders. Then after that is the Mavia token. Once the Mavia token comes out, we don't have a definite date yet. We're going to observe how the markets are the next several weeks or maybe month. And we will make a call there on when to launch. But that would be the next milestone. Then we have beta, the beta of the game. We said basically in Q3 we're going to launch the beta, and anyone holding a land NFT will have access to that. And then the game launch we have projected for Q4. So that's on a high level what we have coming up.
Yeah, that sounds like a great timeline. And yeah, I mean, it's going to come, faster than we know it, I think, at this point. And I think it's, you're taking a very prudent approach with trying to find the best time to launch that token. The market's maybe a little shaky at the moment, but it's everything's kind of volatile in the world right now. So anything could happen the next few weeks, good or bad. And then let's go back to platforms. So if I want to play Here's a Mavia, am I able to do it on my phone, my PS2, my laptop? What can I play this bad boy on?
You will be able to play Heroes of Mavia on Android, iOS, and desktop web. We're not going to make a desktop app. That's a little bit overkill. You can just play on the web because most laptops can support the graphics, no problem. We will be making an iOS app, native, and an Android app as well. And iPad, whatever. All those devices on Android and iOS. We want to make it just the same places you could play the current Clash of Clans games on. Except we add web.
That's great. And yeah, I love being able to play it on a desktop browser too. Makes it super lightweight, especially for a game like this, where I think for like the Decentraland, I don't really like having it on a browser because it's just kind of crappy, and you want to have the stability that comes with having like an actual app and being in a 3D world. But for something where it's more of a sort of top down strategy, I think it makes it really good to have it in that browser setting, being able to take it with you. And I'm curious, how does the wallet connectivity work with the mobile gameplay on your phone?
Yeah, great question. Well, and to your first part, what you said, it really has to just be easy. Like, very few people would play mobile if it was a hassle to load it and you had to do a lot of stuff to get it working. Console games, you have to sit down, find time, you got to pick up a controller. There's obviously console games kill it, but mobile is blowing up because it's so accessible. It's so easy. Everyone can just join and they can do it in their free time. You can do it when you're just on the train. You can do it. You can really pick up a game anytime. So we want to provide that same access, that same level of access. The only difference is instead of logging in, you connect your wallet, which goes into your second part of your question. The way we will structure it is you don't have to own the NFT on the wallet you're playing with. You can grant access to your NFT. It doesn't mean they can touch the NFT itself, but they can play on behalf of you. So let's say I have it in a hard wallet and I put a hard wallet in my safe. As long as I plug in the hard wallet to the computer and set it up on the website, I say I will grant access to this MetaMask on my computer and I will grant access to this Trust wallet on my phone. Now, I put the hard wallet away. The NFT is stored safely. I don't have to think about it. And I can play on my MetaMask because it's granted access, and I can play on my phone. So as long as I have a MetaMask or a Trust wallet, I'm good.
Damn, that's a game changer. Yeah, so it sounds, you weren't kidding when you were talking about you love the product side of things and getting the blockchain stuff all figured out.
Well, that's where the space is lacking. I mean, no one wants to store an NFT on their phone and then move it over here. Gas fees. It's confusing. That's the main barrier to entry for crypto, and that's why very few crypto games, in my opinion, are taking off. Because imagine explaining that to someone, saying, "Yeah, now you got to go move it over here. Now it's loaded up. Wait a second, it's loading. It takes forever." No one wants to do that. They want to buy the NFT once, go through a quick wizard, like 2 minutes, and then it's done. They're good. They can play on their phone and pick it up whenever they want. So it has to provide that level of smoothness. That's the only way we see this working, unless we just want people who are diehard crypto fans. But we'll never bring in Web2 gamers like that. So we want to bring in Web2 gamers by making it. There has to be some level of learning because they obviously got to get a wallet. But if it's up to us, that's about just as much as they need to learn. They got to learn how to install MetaMask. NFTs are already doing a lot of the heavy lifting for us in that regard. We just take it one step further, and then we want to make it really seamless.
That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, the more I'm hearing about how focused you guys are on that experience and making it super simple for the user and onboarding people, like, the more exciting I'm getting, the more bullish I am, just because, like you said, that's what the space is lacking, and yeah, I think that's going to be a huge wake up call to a lot of these games and a lot of these people on how to do it right. If you guys can pull it off, of course.
Yeah. No, it really comes down, like, we had a few weeks where we broke down every pain point there are with current games, and a lot of it had to do with how do you access the game? And it was by owning the NFT or by owning the credentials. You'd be surprised how easy it is to add logic to just make that much easier. Just have the backend recognize. Now, the backend should recognize more wallets. Now, is there a security risk with this? No, because that backend is not giving the other wallet access to sell the NFT. Now, if we were making a function to allow your phone that you gave access to sell your NFT on behalf of you, that'd be a problem. Because technically someone, if let's say you ever got hacked, they could grant them access and sell your NFT for you. But that's not the case. Your NFT is safe and sound in your hardware wallet. And now I allow my phone, I allow my iPad, I allow my Android, I even give it to my kid to play when he's bored, you know? You can really share it. And there's not an issue with our business model with that either. We made sure the business model was very resilient against let's say farming or something like that, you know?
Yeah. Let's narrow in on that point. So with Axie Infinity, the biggest play to earn game ever up till this point. I would say the vast majority, I don't know exact percentage, but are scholars, right? That actually play the game. Can you talk about, you talked earlier about how, the model for Clash of Clans works really well. The model for Heroes of Mavia. It's one where you don't have to be logged in all the time. You don't have to be like constantly grinding. Can you talk about how, do you think people will still utilize scholars, or do you think it'll be more, people who will actually own the main NFTs playing, or how do you imagine that playing out, or have you thought about that?
Well, the fact that we made the land scarce means we had something has to give, right? The reason we did that is because if land wasn't scarce, it wouldn't be valuable. That's just basic economics. So we want to limit, and also because our game's a little more sensitive than Clash, because you can make money in the form of Ruby, you have to limit it somehow. You can't just have okay, Axie breeds. Our land doesn't breed. Okay, it's fixed. And that means as a community, we can all vote if we want to increase the amount of land or not. And the assumption is that we will all work as a group, as a DAO, to make the right call. But we started small. There's only 8,000 plots of land right now. That's only 8,000 players. It's not a lot. We're going to grow, but it's going to be slow and steady. And because of that, we have now capped the amount of inflation that can ever occur. We have a fixed amount of land. Take it a step further. There's a cap on how much Ruby each base can earn. Now, we've modeled all this out. One thing we did that caught a lot of attention, this is really actually what really kickstarted us, because everyone saw our model that we made on Machinations. I don't know if you know what Machinations is. It's a software that allows you to model in-game currencies and see how over time, if you change certain variables, what will happen to the inflation. Or originally is made for game companies to see how the flow of in-game resources moves and how you can sell the player better and basically, make more money. But in the case of our game, it's perfect. We needed a way to model, okay, if players earn this much Ruby per day, and we expect X percent to upgrade, X percent to do this and that, what will happen over a year? Okay, that's a little too high. How do we adjust that? Let's lower this, make this higher. So we have a model. We ran thousands of models, and we know for a fact, there's no question, if the variables are that, we will get this end result. So it's very clear to us what our issues are if we have them. And now when we launch the game, we can see, okay, where were our numbers off a little bit? Let's make an adjustment. Let's turn this knob a little bit. Boom, we get the result we wanted. So it's very predictable. And if it's predictable, it's sustainable because we can make different decisions as a community as to what we want to do. But the reason it's so sustainable, and according to that model, the number one factor was the war chest. So if you're familiar with Clash of Clans, there's gold storage and there's oil storage. We have Ruby storage too. And the way Ruby storage works is, when you go attack someone and you win, you earn Ruby. A lot of that's minted, but some of it's stolen. After you hit your mint limit per day, by the way, this is the model now. It can change if we, think we need to balance it differently. But you hit your mint limit and you steal a little bit. But after you hit your mint limit, it's done minting. Now you can only steal. You're stealing their Ruby. What is that player going to do? He's angry. You just stole a lot of the money he earned. He's going to reinvest his Ruby into his defense to make sure that doesn't happen again. I need better walls. I need better turrets. I need better heroes. So that's how we stimulate the economy. you can only collect the ruby every 3 or 4 days. And by the way, that 3 or 4 days, that 1 day difference makes a huge impact on the inflation rate. And also, there's a limit to how much can go in the war chest. If you want to increase that limit, you got to upgrade the war chest. So it's this cycle. So you can earn a certain amount of ruby, but let's say you hit your limit in 2 days, and you have 2 more days to wait until you can withdraw. You have a choice to make. Do you just stop playing the game, where you'll get raided and then they'll start chipping away at your ruby? Or do you spend the ruby because you hit the limit and you want to keep playing and earning more ruby? It's almost like you're forced to reinvest it back into your base. So there's a situation where you earn 3 times the ruby that you actually collect. But that's still great because there's still like a dollar figure attached to that ruby, and technically you earn that. Because where did the ruby go? It didn't go to the sky. It went back into your base. So it's forced reinvestment and forced stimulus into the economy. That's a model that we did. I don't think anyone else is doing that, and I think a lot more games will start implementing that.
Yeah, I love it. It's genius. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm really excited. So I'm a little giddy right now just because, we've been foaming at the mouth over these on-chain games that it's really just you stake something and, you get lucky or not, right? But there's not a ton of strategy to it. So having something where it's as intricate as a real game, but there's a lot more at stake and a lot more, intricacies in it. It's just super super exciting. And um, before we go to the next part, I'd love to hear more about the DAO aspect of it, because I think that's super interesting, right? Are there tokens allocated to, I guess, the initial team to have, a higher percentage in that decision? And then where is the actual decision going to be made? A lot of people use like Snapshot. Is this going to be in the game, or will it be on a third-party platform?
Right. So we're mainly focusing on the core decisions. We're not going to come ask the community, should we increase this character's toe? We're going to talk about the main high-level things, and then over time, it gets more granular. In the beginning, the main core decision we make as a DAO is, should we increase the land size? There's a lot of demand, but should we do it or not? They say no, okay, no problem, we wait. Who's going to participate in that vote? The landholders and the token holders. But it should have a sway towards the landowners because they're the ones with the most at stake. Now, we don't think landowners will always vote no, or else the game can never grow. Now, we may not vote immediately because we still got to build that governance portal. We're going to make it very nice. We still have to build that. So a lot of decisions we're making as a dev team, but we're still communicating with the community. But over time, this will get more and more decentralized. That's the whole point of the game. We want to make it as, you can never be fully decentralized. Even apps like Uniswap aren't. I mean, you got to go to a website, right? The website's hosted somewhere. But you want to make it as decentralized as possible, where the community makes the decisions and the dev team implements them. So that's what we're aiming to do. But we got to get the game. There is a benefit to centralization. It's efficient. You can move quick. We don't have time to say, hey guys, should we move servers over here? Let's take a week vote. We got to move. So we work as a team, but the core business decisions we do want to eventually have the community decide.
Yeah, just like everything, it's always going to depend, right? Only a Sith deals in absolutes. So decentralization isn't always, the best thing for the growth, especially for a game like this. So I think that's a very smart decision. And then going on to so I got a couple of questions about the plots specifically. Before we get to the sales side of things, I'm curious. Are you able to kind of sever and break up the assets on your plot and sell those individually, or sell heroes or units, or does it have to be is it the whole shebang or nothing?
That's a great question. So the heroes, yes. Everything else you said, no. The heroes are separate NFTs. There's 3 types of NFTs in the game. There's land, aka bases, heroes, and statues. 3. Bases include troops, buildings, walls, the decorations you put on it, all the progress it's made. That's all attached to the base NFT. You can't sell that. You can't fractionalize that or sell that out. But that's a good thing, because now it's very clear when you're buying a base or you're renting a base, you get everything that comes with it. You get those walls. You can readjust them and move them. By the way, we introduced something really cool. This was recent. We added a bunker to each base. So all the stuff that you want to show off, but that can't fit on the top of your base, we made a little elevator that goes underground. Every base has one. And you're able to put your decorations and your other stuff down there. We'll share some concept art soon. But also your ruby that you collect, that you want to make safe every 3 days, as I mentioned earlier, that's where it goes. So if someone has a ton of ruby, he can show it off down there. It's like a huge vault, and it shows it piling up. So that's like a place to flex, like almost like where you put your NFTs, right? And we may even have some collaborations where we allow frames, and you can put your NFTs down there. So it'll be really fun. But yeah, so the heroes, as an example, all the ruby you put into your heroes stays with that hero. So they all start at level 1. Let's say you put all this ruby into it. You were grinding, you were in ruby, you put it all in this hero. You bought skins for the hero, you bought armor for the hero, you bought special powers for the hero, maybe you bought pets. If we introduce that, you bought pets for the hero. All that's attached to the NFT. It goes wherever that hero goes. So if I have 10 skins I bought for the hero, I can't sell the skin, but I can sell the hero as an individual unit.
That's awesome. And yeah, I think it's going to bring a lot of really interesting price discovery to see what people value for those specific traits on the hero or on the land. You know, there could be one asset on the land that makes it super valuable and everything else can be crap, but it's going to, you know, sell way higher than someone who spent potentially more ruby investing.
And we're going to see. We take so much input from the community. We're not coming in here saying, look, we're the messiah of Web3 games. We have a cool idea, a cool vision. We have a team that can pull it off. And we're taking all this input from everyone. It's evolved a lot based on input from the community. And we will see what they value the most and what they want implemented, and we'll do our best to implement it, just like they want.
Awesome. So I know I said I want to get to the sale, but let's stick on the marketplace for a second, because I think that's super important. There's going to be a lot of different things on the land, on the heroes, a lot of different traits people are going to want to filter by and things like that. Can you talk a little bit about what the marketplace experience will be like for your users?
Sure. Picture Zillow. You know Zillow, where they buy houses, rent houses and stuff. Picture that, but the map is an island. And think of it like a GTA island. And you can see half the island grayed out, because that part of the island hasn't been sold in NFTs yet. But the tropical regions first, that's the tropical area of the island. And you can hover your mouse over and see every little base on it. Every base in the game has a unique plot on the island, a completely unique design and look and location. And that's what differentiates common, rare, and legendary. Common has 70% of the island, but it's in more of the back of that region. Rare is closer to the beach and has a little bit different design. And legendary is on the water. It's beachfront. And it has better design. There's a few other things that it does, but basically the marketplace, there's this island, and you can see all the locations of the land. And you can click on one, view the details, just like you would on Zillow. It's like a mix between Airbnb and Zillow and OpenSea is the best way I can describe it, because it has all those features.
Well, that sounds pretty good. Do you know when we'll have any sneak peeks of that or anything?
It's out. Yeah, it's on the website. If you go down to the website, you go to the image previews, there's actually videos of us interacting with that map. But we'll have a much more polished version with the final graphics maybe in a month or two.
Gotcha. Okay, awesome. I'll definitely take a deeper look at that. But yeah, let's get to the sale part of it. I know that's where a lot of people are focused. You know, it's coming up very soon. I'm assuming it's probably, I don't think you guys have any more whitelist spots available to the public. Is that correct?
No. So we had a whitelist. We had a private sale to guilds and partners and esports teams. And now we are going to have the mint, but afterwards, there's going to be 1,000 common lands available on the Binance NFT marketplace that is available fully to the public. And that has nothing to do with us and our whitelist. That's purely up to them. There's a raffle. There's all these rules. So you guys can go to Binance NFT if you're interested in those. And then we may have one more on crypto.com, but we'll see.
Awesome. Okay, so it sounds like the sale on Friday is going to be all whitelists that you guys have given out, and then there will be some potential other sales.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, great. And then the rest, people can just buy it on secondary on OpenSea?
Yeah, and then in the future, we have obviously many options and how we distribute future land, but the team isn't looking really to profit from any of that because we don't need the money. So that will integrate staking, or just pure Mavia token, which goes back to Treasury in some capacity. So we will decide that later. We haven't announced how we plan on distributing future land, because we want to eventually get to 100,000 bases, but not too quickly. We don't know what that time frame looks like. It'll be done responsibly, but the team is not looking to sell that for ETH and just use that for funding or anything. That will be done through staking or Ruby or Mavia.
Awesome. I know we're coming up on the hour here. Want to be cautious of your time as well. So I think we're going to open up to questions from the audience pretty soon. So if you guys do have questions, make sure to request. We see you down there, those who are requesting. We will get you up here pretty shortly. And but before we do that, you're talking about guilds and other organizations. Tell us how those will function in the game. Can I battle other guilds, other factions? Are there leaderboards for that? What does that look like?
Yeah, so good question. Obviously, Clan Wars was a huge component of Clash of Clans. We're going to have something called alliances. It doesn't really have anything to do with guilds as it pertains to the guilds where you see, like YGG and stuff. What their role is they're buying land for their community. They're a guild. That's what the guilds are in our game. But the function will be more like Clan Wars. So they will take their bases and put them part of, let's call them the Mavia Mafia, right, as an example clan, or the YGG clan. And they will have all their bases as part of that, and they will battle other alliances. So in a way, it is guild versus guild, but it's not the guild in the high level. It's guild in the more in-the-game guild. I guess what I'm saying is there's a difference between the guild like YGG and a guild in the game. So a guild could split up their bases into two teams, and they could fight.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, so you could have like tournaments internally.
Correct. So no, because it's all part of the. Just assume the guilds that we're speaking about that bought land is just a big investor, and they can split up the land into teams however they'd like. And it doesn't just have to fight internally; it's fighting with the whole Mavia island. It's just like Clan Wars. So if someone owns 10 bases and someone owns 100, they could put that 100 in one team, or they could break it up into 10 because it's 10 each. So it's really up to them. But what's really cool is we added a lot of custom features for esports teams. Esports is going to be very big for us. We're pushing very hard on esports, and there's a lot of streaming features we've made. For example, every single battle in the game forever is permanently recorded, and you can stream it live on our platform, just like Twitch. But it's permanently recorded, and we're actually able to do that very cost efficiently because we only have to save the text file of where every mouse button was clicked or finger was pressed, and we can recreate the whole battle. So when we don't have to record all this footage. So it's very easy for us to record every single battle forever. And esports teams will be able to, or AKA alliances and guilds, will be able to have their own custom branding on the base. We have several locations where they can upload a logo and it shows up there.
That's genius. How you guys are able to record that and the ledger of it forever. I think that's super cool. I can imagine if this game takes off and blows up, people going back to the archives and finding all these crazy battles between guilds or, some just awesome lore there as well. So that's super cool. I want to get to questions. We got a lot of people requesting. But before we do that, one last thing would be around, audits and exploits. Obviously, a lot of these games have had exploits that have been crippling. Can you talk about just, what have you guys done to prevent that? And I guess your confidence there.
When you say crippling, are you referring to Web 2 or Web 3?
Web 3. So like Wolf Game, they're paused forever. They're dead. All these other games that try to copy them. Pretty much, I can't think of a game that's worked really.
Yeah, so as far as hacks go, there's not much sensitive information. The biggest threat I see is our players maybe falling victim to some kind of scam that's through an email or something where they have to give up their land NFT. That's going to be tough for us because we don't, it's tough for us to take away and revoke the land from the NFT. But if someone genuinely lost it, it's going to be like an OpenSea situation where we got to decide. But as far as us getting hacked, the NFT and stuff is all on the blockchain. So we're not worried about someone hacking our play to earn. the play to earn aspect, they can't withdraw Ruby unless it's signed by the team members and they approve it, at least initially until we develop the more decentralized model. So I'm not worried about anyone hacking Ruby and being able to withdraw it too much. Then, yeah, so the blockchain side fundamentally is pretty secure. Most of the logic is on the back end because that's the Web 2 part of the game, right? Like, not really Web 2, but it's like off chain. So not every action is on chain. Otherwise, every time I move a character, I'd have to sign my MetaMask. Not fun. So a lot of the logic for efficiency purposes is all off chain. Then it's just a matter of like any game, making sure your backend infrastructure is secure. If it was all on chain this game, we'd have a big problem because one little bug, you have to upgrade the smart contracts. It's very difficult. You know, crypto is very rigid as far as the smart contracts code go, and it would be very difficult to adjust and fix that. But because the back end functions like a regular game, I'm not too worried about security like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Unless there's anything you want to, say before we open it up the floor, I think we'll start getting some people up here. You good to go?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. We got Jason coming up first, hopefully. He's been waiting for a while. We'll get a couple others up in case he gets rugged. Go down the line. All right, Jason, can you hear us? Looks like you're muted, Jason, if you're trying to talk. All right, we'll get back to Jason. General, are you able to hear us?
I sure am.
Awesome. What's up, buddy?
What's up, guys? Just had a quick question.
Yeah.
Yeah, lay it on us.
So, Axie recently is looking to transition to a free-to-play model due to the in-game economy being a bit too much of a barrier for people to actually play the game. What is Heroes of Mavia doing different? Because seems like you guys are releasing a limited supply of land as well. So, just wanted to get your take on the in-game economy, because it seems like everybody's kind of guessing at this point as to what's sustainable and what's going to work for mass adoption.
Right. So, yeah, very good question. I guess our main criticism, if we have any, is always how do you allow more players in? But the answer is you can't find. Look, no one knows the recipe yet for the successful free-to-play model. I'll tell you how you don't figure it out. Let everyone in, because you'll never be able to experiment. It's the scientific method. You have to see what works and what doesn't. So you start small. You start small in something where if you make a change, it's not affecting 1 million, 2 million people. It's affecting 10,000, 20,000. You make adjustments and you scale. So the strategy behind starting small is it's fun, it's exclusive, it keeps a certain type of player in, but also we're able to experiment and see exactly what works and then scale. But I do think, regardless of play to earn, there is a way to add free to play without it harming the core game economy. Now, it's impossible. I mean, a lot of people don't want to believe it, but even though they add a lot of magical words like blockchain and stuff, but it is impossible for everyone to play a game and just make all this money. It's not going to ever happen. But what you can do is make a sustainable ecosystem that is play to earn, that does involve free to play in some capacity where everyone can enjoy it. But you got to bring something to the table, whether it's skill, then you become a partner, a little bit skill and a little bit of capital, you can rent a base. Or if you want to buy a base and be a owner in the island, you can do that too. But it really is proportional and fair. There is a way for players to play for free with absolutely zero money. It's called a partnership. If you have a little bit and you want to play by yourself, you don't want to, that's when you rent. And if you want to own your base, or you're just an investor and you're looking to kind of capitalize on the Mavia as a whole, you'd buy land or the token. So we have a path, I guess, for everyone, but we can't support unlimited players or else you'll crash. It just defies logic. So our strategy starts small, find what works, and grow like that. And honestly, if we crack a code in a way and make it sustainable for those players and we grow, then there's going to be a line of people waiting at the door. And that's what we want. It keeps the game in demand.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so you guys are really not looking for, at the moment, you're really just experimenting, seeing what works, trying to, test things out, in other words, right?
In a way, Obviously it'd be ideal if we could have all these millions of players and everyone's, but it's not feasible because we still have to figure out a lot of things. It's and not with just the game. I'm
Right.
talking about the core essential fundamentals of play to earn. So because there is no successful model yet that's proven, so we have to figure that out, and then we scale. But our dream obviously is to have all these players play and get as big as Clash of Clans. But we know that you don't start there. You have to earn your way there.
Fair enough. I guess if I don't know if I can do a follow up question. If not, just let me
Yeah,
know.
of course.
So like in terms of like payouts, do you guys have you? I guess have you guys actually modeled out what those payouts will look like per match, or how are you guys modeling how you earn and what you earn, and how will you guys offset the additional minting that will go on with that I guess the sock token that's within the game, which I think is Ruby. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yep. It's Ruby. Yep.
Yep. So how will you guys? Do you guys number one have an actual model that you've tested out, just a mathematical model, and if so, what how have you guys come to the conclusion that that model will be workable in the game as you scale up?
So that model that you're referring to is what we made in Machinations. So that is a full simulation of our game economy, and you can check it out on our Twitter if you're interested. Just scroll down a couple weeks ago. We posted a video of our machination simulation in action. If you're interested, we posted a lot of content on this. It's a very complex question to answer because there's so many moving parts to it, but there is no fixed amount if you're looking for a dollar value of what a player can earn because it relies on so many things. Our job is not to. This may come as a surprise to some people, but we're not making jobs here. We're not trying to provide jobs to people. We're making a game that's play to earn. And a game, not everyone wins. So every player will be able to earn Ruby, but better players earn more.
Gotcha.
That's just a fact. So
Yeah.
the problem with a lot of play to earn games is they're like, oh, every player will make this much. No, that's a job. That's called labor. They're coming in, they're pushing a button, they're having a little bit of fun, and they're trying to make money, and then the game crashes because that's not what a game's about. That's a job, So we're not looking to make jobs. We're looking to make a game where players now our goal is to make sure we don't think anyone will lose anything because that's what the NFTs are for. Your NFT, you're playing, you're earning, you're putting your Ruby back into your NFT, and you can always sell that NFT. And this is part of the reason why we want a limited amount of players. If we just let everyone in, and you have an NFT, but the guy next to you has one too, it's not really worth anything. But if this NFT is rare, and you put a lot of work into it, and you didn't perform as well as you thought you would have, just sell the NFT to the next guy. Let him take a stab at it. But at least you didn't really lose. But see that's really what changed in our game. If we make NFTs rare, then there's always a line of people who want to come play and try. So you can always pass off the NFT and everything you put into it to the next guy.
Right. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, and hopefully I'm not stepping on toes. It's just those are the questions that I think I think Axie obviously was the first model that was, successful initially, but now we're starting to see that, maybe they've got some issues with that model, and so I think the concern going forward maybe for GameFi would be how can we adjust that model to where it's beneficial both for the investor, the player, and also for onboarding, as you said, maybe additional players with, I don't know, maybe there could be a hybrid model, but I
Yeah,
don't think.
let me give you an example, and this is a question for you. What do you think's more fun? A game where if everyone contributes X amount of hours, they earn X amount, or a game where the winners of tournaments and esports and clan wars win all X amount, and the people who perform poorly or don't perform, they don't lose anything. They just don't earn as much. What sounds more competitive and game-like to you?
Right, it would be the second one.
Yeah, that's what we're going towards. The other games in the space, they're saying, okay, you buy the character, everything's linear. Okay, if you pay this much for an NFT, it earns twice it. That'll never work. That's not a game. That's a projection. That's a equation. That's not fun. The fun part is competition. That's what makes a game fun. It's challenging. A game isn't you go through the motions, you push the buttons, you play. It's fun. And if you do really good, you can earn not just a trophy, Ruby, which is a cryptocurrency. That's the dream. That's the crypto dream. Everyone wants to make money.
So
But there's no situation where everyone in the game makes a ton of money. It'll never happen. But what you do
right,
is you make a system where if they don't do well, they didn't really lose anything because they still have their NFT and they could always pass it on to the next guy and get out.
right. I was gonna say, so you guys NFTing all the characters and everything, or is it just the land?
It's the characters too, the heroes. Yeah.
Okay,
So all this progress you make, you could even come play without the land with just a hero. You buy a hero and you rent a base, put your hero on it, and kind of grind your hero up. It's almost like, regardless of how you perform in the game from a tournament or clan wars aspect, you're still making value. Maybe not just in Ruby cash outs, but you're improving your hero. If you play the game, and hypothetically, this isn't going to happen, but let's say you cashed out 0 Ruby, but you started with a level 1 hero, and now you have a level 10 hero, and these heroes are rare. You made money, because now you can go sell that hero to someone else in line. So that's really what we changed, is we're placing more emphasis on the NFTs rather than just, here's your Ruby, go dump it, you know?
and so those attributes follow the hero on the blockchain, whether it's a level 1 or 10
Yes.
or okay, that's
Permanently too. It's not like when you go sell it, it's back to square one. You carry that value. So if you grind, you play, you do well. That's almost your insurance policy. Is you will. The one thing that is linear is that if you spend X amount of Ruby or X amount of time, your base will increase by this amount, and your hero will increase by this amount. Now, whether you win a tournament with that, that's up to you. You got to be a good player. It's not pay to win, you know. So you still got to have skill. Some players have more than others, and that's why some players will earn more than others.
appreciate it, man.
Yeah, of course.
Love a good skill gap. Great questions, General. Thanks for coming up here. Thanks for tuning in. We'll give it to the lizard in the left corner over there, Vesti, for next question.
Yeah, sorry, my Twitter has been rugging me, so I don't know if this question has already been asked, but games like Clash of Clans, they provide a pretty extreme advantage through gems. I'd like to know your plan to balance the game mechanics of Mavia and make sure it's fair and ensure it's not a pay to win.
The reason it's fair is because everyone has that same access to that Ruby. So whereas in Clash, there's an extreme advantage if you pay against the free players. Everyone has the ability to earn Ruby, aka gems, in Clash of Clans, and advance. Now, if someone pays to win, quote unquote, what they're doing is they're improving their base, they're improving their hero, they're improving their statues, they're speeding up the time it takes to get to those levels. But instead of that just going to the dev team, thank you very much for your money, that helps everyone because now Ruby, the liquidity went up, which creates extra liquidity for the next guy in line. So instead of the devs profiting from someone skipping in line and upgrading their base from 1 to 4, now everyone benefits. So it's actually a good thing. But it doesn't make an excuse for allowing pay to win. Of course, it has to be fair. But I just wanted to point out that the pay to win in our case actually benefits everyone equally. But we're placing a lot of emphasis making sure that matchmaking is the main thing, making sure that you're playing against someone of your caliber and someone of your equal size. And then a lot will be left up to the players. That's what clan wars are for. That's what tournaments are for. You pick your teammates, and depending on their performance, you guys split the rewards. But
Also,
Clash does provide some advantage, but overall, I'd say they've done a pretty good job of balancing.
yeah, I really like that answer. But in terms of like clan wars, I could see that, like, especially in the esports realm, I could see that becoming a problem. Do you guys like have any roadblocks set up in the way to like prevent just somewhat like a huge whale coming into the ecosystem and then having all the best shit and then just being able to dominate a clan war and kind of taking the fun out of the esport aspect of it?
Yeah, that's something we're going to have to see. Obviously, that possibility. Let's say a billionaire comes in, buys the absolute best stuff. Who's he going to fight against? It has to be fair. We have to match.
Yeah, I don't want to go against Jeff Bezos.
That's something that comes down to our matchmaking. So that's what the balancing is all about, right? So the answer to that question is we're going to have to test and we're going to have to see and respond. But as long as we create the tools to respond quick to stuff like that, we should have no problems. What you just mentioned, I'm not going to lie, is going to happen 100,000%. 100,000% what you just said will happen. How do we respond? There's no way around it. You got to make tools so that you can balance it, and now everyone's happy again. So that's what we're focused. We're not trying to prevent the whale from coming in. He helps. That's a good thing. How do we accurately keep it fair? Right? So we have to make rules and tools to do that, and that's what we're working on right now.
Awesome. Yeah, I really like that. And my question is mainly just towards the esports part. So that's the only place I could really see that becoming an issue. Like you said, like that definitely would help the whole ecosystem if some billionaire comes in and is buying a bunch of assets that other people have.
That's cool.
Just like
we want them to flex. That's why we made the bunker. This is a very flex friendly game. Okay, like we like that. NFTs are in general. The whole space, everyone flexes, but it has to be fair. It's a game, so we're well aware of the type of people this game will attract. We think it's an asset. We think it's a good thing. We think billionaires wanting to come into your game and drop loads of ETH or Mavia or Ruby is a good thing, but you got to respond appropriately. So that's what we're working on.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Yep.
Yeah, great question, Rusty, and love hearing more about your plan to mitigate those things. So yeah, we'll go to Paul next.
Yeah, I was wondering, a couple of things on the same thing. I wondering if you thought it was a good idea to put your NFT, your land NFT in one of those ledger wallets, and does it interfere with staking and stuff like that?
That's a great question. I recommend the hard wallets, and it won't affect staking. No way. We're going to make sure we have tools. When you stake, you can select a whitelist. Basically, when you buy your NFT and you stake, we're going to allow you a chance to select one wallet that's whitelisted. Because if you were planning on flipping it or selling it, you wouldn't know the person in advance, right? So you can whitelist where the hard wallet is, and then you store it there. Yeah.
So as soon as I get my NFT, I shouldn't put it right into my ledger wallet then?
Well, your ledger wallet really can interact with it. Really, the answer is it doesn't matter. Let's say you go put it in your ledger. When it comes time to stake, you just connect your ledger to MetaMask and click stake. You don't have to. It doesn't really affect anything, as long as
because I got a MetaMask wallet. So
so if you got a MetaMask, you should be good. But we will be answering a lot more of those questions in depth closer to the staking release, which is not yet.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yeah, great question, Paul. Thanks for clearing that up for us. And we'll go to Charco next. Hey, Charco.
Hey guys, just wanted to just congratulate you on such a great project you guys have been working on, and thank you for giving me a chance to ask some questions. Hold on, sorry, freaking don't have my questions up. So for staking land, I know you guys talked about it before, and sorry if I'm like asking again, but after minting and public sale, when do you guys plan on making land stakeable, and what kind of rewards do you plan on giving?
Yeah, great question. Hopefully within a few weeks. It's already being developed. There's a lot that goes into it because it's not regular staking, and the reason we're doing that is to save you guys ETH. We want to save you gas. It'd make our job so easy if we just said, "Oh, throw your land in the contract, pay the $120 it takes to stake, and we'll see you in a year. Here's your rewards." But we're making a new thing that I don't know if anyone ever has done before. I like saying that because we're really trying to innovate here, and we're trying to do stuff to make everyone's lives easier. We made soft staking, which you don't have to stake and pay any gas. You just keep it in your wallet. But the downside is us. We have to build a tool that doesn't exist yet that allows us to track the movements of everything, and if it goes here, then cancel the stake. And basically the way this works is because we can't give you the rewards up front because that would defeat the purpose of the soft staking, you have to select, do you want 6 month or 12 month soft stake? And then when you meet at the end of that 6 months or 12 months, then you get your reward. The reward has not been announced yet.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I love how cautious you guys are and observant you are of other projects to implement it in your guys' process of growing and stuff. And one more question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
So I know you guys have the partnerships and the renting land coming and available, or like soon to be available. But do you guys plan on applying that to heroes? Maybe like someone really puts in work to a hero and they're able to rent it out to someone who's willing to just use it for the time being. Maybe they can't like afford it, like the full price of the hero.
Yes, we do. But we have to analyze a few things first. Like, should the rules be a little bit different from land? Or is there that much demand? I'm getting a lot of questions about it, so I assume there is a lot of demand, but we'll see. But I want to introduce hero renting because if someone comes to the game, they don't want to buy anything. They just want to rent. Let me just try it out for a weekend. Let me just try out the game. I'll go rent a statue, I'll go rent a couple heroes, I'll grab a base, let's go, you know? And I play some wagered matches, I join a clan, and if I like it, I stay for longer. So I like renting, but if we do renting, I think we should do it for everything, right? Give them the full experience. But we just have to make sure that it makes sense. So the answer is probably.
Okay, cool. I really appreciate you taking the time to answer my questions.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, good luck, you guys, and thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thanks a lot, Charco. We got NFT Orbit up next.
Hey guys, I just want to say thank you for doing this, and you guys are an amazing team. I hope you can hear me, right?
Yeah, hear you fine.
Okay, perfect. So my question is this: you don't expect anybody to max out the game in a few months, where the only use for their Ruby is pretty much to sell and apply pressure to the market.
No, because our game is much more multifaceted than that. So there will be, first of all, we have to anticipate. Maybe 10, 15, I don't want to give an exact number, but a lot of players are going to come in. They have bags. They have a lot of liquidity. I want to cut straight to the top. But what we're doing is this. We want them to put in some time into the game. So when you upgrade your HQ from level 1 to level 2, it costs Ruby. But you can't just go from level 2 to level 3 right away. You have to build the walls. You have to build the turrets. You have to wait till they're done construction. That takes time. And what does it cost if you want to speed up the time? More Ruby. You're going to end up tripling the cost than if you played the game and spent the Ruby. So there's a cost associated with just upgrading it from level 1 to level 2 because of all the small things you have to do as well. You can't just say, okay, my level... Think about a base with wooden walls. Nothing, right? Just nothing on the base. Level 1. And I want to go to level 10. Imagine how dorky it'd look for a sick level 10 base with a couple wooden walls. We need you to upgrade. We need you to do some things first. You got to build your turrets. And now, with the next level, there's a few more buildings made available. You have to build that first. And maybe you have to upgrade a few things. So we can add barriers to prevent people from just skipping so quickly. And if they really do want to skip, they can. But they're going to have to pay Ruby to speed up the time to build all those accessory buildings and walls too. Which, if they're willing to do that, you should be very happy because Ruby just became that much more stable. And once they get to level 10, is the only thing they can do with that cash out? No. There are so many things. Like, when you're level 10 base, but your heroes are all level 1, you're not going to win. You're going to be fighting level 8s because heroes are a big component. Heroes help you win battles. They're a very large component. The spells in Clash of Clans where you drop the lightning and the stuff, that all is now in the heroes. They have special powers. So now they got to go buy 4 heroes if they want to be competitive and upgrade those heroes. So it's not so simple, and there's going to be a lot of skill involved. So even if they did upgrade to level 10, they're not going to be cashing out like there's no tomorrow because where's their heroes? Now they got to go get heroes. Now they got to get some statues maybe to help. So there is a chance that happens, but it takes a lot of Ruby and it takes a lot of time. And even if they did that, there's a lot they can use Ruby for besides just cashing out. There's wagered matches, there's tournaments, and there's a whole lot of other things. So we want to keep it fun, and we want to make it not so worth it just to skip the line.
Okay, all right, I appreciate that. And do you mind if I ask just one more question?
Yeah, of course.
Be very quick. So, thankfully, I'm whitelisted for the land, but I didn't read anything about being whitelisted for the heroes. Is that even a thing, or do we just buy them?
Not a thing yet. We haven't announced anything regarding how we're going to release the heroes, who we're giving it to, how it's giving out. So, no, you're all good there.
But we can expect it to be cheaper than the land, or more?
Oh, 100%. Much, much cheaper.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Yeah, great questions, Orbit. We got Azali up next.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Great.
So I had a question regarding the level, the 3 legendary, rare, and common land. Last time on the last AMA, you guys said that there's going to be a probability difference of drop loot. So how big is the difference, and is that going to be an advantage economically for the legendary bases?
It is an advantage. It is. But it's not an advantage with attack and defense. It's an advantage with the ability to earn extra rare things more frequently, which could translate to economic value. But that's why it costs more too, right? And there's much better location on the map. So when they go to resell it, they have that waterfront property. and there's better decoration on the base. It really, a lot of it is cosmetic, and it is to flex, but it's a more desirable location. But economically, in the beginning, it won't make too much of a difference because there's absolutely no bonus for attacks or defense given the common, rare, legendary. It's all the same size, same everything. On a community end, we may give a little more attention here and there to the legendary and rare as far as priority for certain heroes or skins. That's really the advantage there. But we want to keep it fair.
So would rubies be one of the drop for legendary?
Could be, yeah. No, there's ruby. When you dig up bushes and rocks and stuff, there's ruby. You may get a little more, but it's not so. It's not so substantial. It's like, oh, I made 10x because I bought legendary. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be more like they get preferential treatment, and they get a little more rare things, which increase the value of their base, which is a good thing. So they'll always be in this niche that they get a little bit cooler things on their drops. Sometimes there may be things that only legendary owners and rare owners get, but it's not like they're going to be cashing all this ruby out because they buy legendary. We made it very clear it's mainly cosmetic, but the cosmetic, the location, and the perks they get does make it worth it in our opinion.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, great questions, Asley. We've got 2 more speakers, and I think these are going to be the last questions here. Then we'll wrap it up. We've got Binge Monkey up next, and then we'll go to Dab after that.
Hey, good evening, guys. I just want to thank you guys. This game looks super sick. I'm stoked. I can't wait for it to drop. I mean, I can't wait to pick up a LAN, 1, 2, 3, a couple. I'm not whitelisted, so I'm gonna be picking up a secondary. I had a question about how much loot. If is there gonna be a difference on, let's say, what base level you're on how much loot you're able to collect per day?
Yeah, that's one of the core fundamental aspects of why you want to improve. Level 1 can earn and collect much less than level 8, 9, and 10. It goes up not even linearly, it goes up almost exponentially, but in a sustainable fashion. You want everyone to keep chasing the higher levels, and we may even introduce more levels later. But yes, of course. Yeah, the higher level bases earn more. But that when I say level, I'm not saying rare and legendary. Maybe I misunderstood your question. I'm talking about
No, yeah, like the I forget what it's called, like the town halls, right? So
HQ. Yeah.
the HQ. The higher the HQ, the more allowment they have per day to mint and ruby is what I'm asking.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that was my only question. Thank you guys so much. Love the project. Love the art. You guys are amazing.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate that.
Awesome. Great question, Binge. And we will go to Dab for the final question of the night.
How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
So my question would be, is there going to be like a unrevealed period, or are they just going to reveal like right away when we mint the land pieces?
Oh, great question. Yeah, so the reveal of each land is not until Q3. It may be sooner, but we don't want to be stressed. We have a lot of things on our plate, so we say Q3 because it's not so simple. Each base is handcrafted by Avon and his team, mainly Avon, and he has to place it properly on the map and make sure it looks good. And we're making this whole tool so you can explore the map like Google Maps. So it takes some time, but we're putting a lot of love into it.
Gotcha.
Q3 will be the reveal.
Sweet. And one other question so say you mint like 2 common land pieces, is there a chance of like one common land piece being more rare than the other one, or like is there going to be like a difference in rarity there, or not really?
No. Common is all the same as common. Rare is all the same as rare. Legendary. We get so complex. It's like, what's going on? It's like a web. So no, we're trying to compartmentalize things. A lot of projects like to do all these like spin the wheel stuff. Ours is simple. It's common, rare, and legendary. They have different locations. So I guess one could say, you got a little bit closer to the water than I did. But who cares? For the most part, common is common, rare is rare, and legendary is legendary.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yep, of course.
Great question, Dab. Thanks for ending it up with that one, I'm gonna probably go take a couple dabs after this, hopefully. And yeah, heroes, Tristan. What a blast that was. Really appreciate you breaking it down with us. Thank you everyone for listening. We're going on 2 hours now, but it feels like we've been here, for 10 seconds because it's been such a good time. Is there anything you'd like to, end it off with, sign off?
No, just I really appreciate having us on. We are very excited for Friday and everything to come. Hopefully, I can revisit this again with a little bit more developed, and we can share our progress. And yeah, it was fun.
Sounds great, man. Yeah, we got to get you in MVHQ to show some gameplay footage once we can. I'm sure our members would really appreciate that. Give some good feedback as well.
Absolutely.
Well, sounds good, man. Really appreciate your time. I know you guys have been grinding. Very excited for Friday. Gonna end the spaces on maybe a little bit of a different note here, unfortunately.
I'd like to mention one thing I forgot. We will not send any emails. So anyone in our community, please know if you get an email, it's a scam. We're not sending any emails out to anyone. You can check your whitelist status on mavia.com/whitelist, and mint day is just with the website. No emails. We're not sending any emails. There's nothing email anymore.
Thank you very much. It's very important to prevent scams and phishing like that. So really appreciate you looking out for our community there. And yeah, as we close it out here, unfortunately on more somber tone, it is very fun to be stuck in our bubble with NFTs and crypto and gaming. And it can be very helpful at sometimes, but it does look like there has been some escalation between Russia and Ukraine. I have a pinned tweet up there if you guys want to read more on some of the updates there. But thoughts and prayers out to anyone who is affected by this. Make sure to check on your family, friends, and everyone is okay with their mental health, physical health, wherever they are in the world. So really just want to make sure that we don't lose sight of that, don't lose sight of the bigger picture, and that you all are okay. My DMs are always open, if anyone's struggling. And yeah, I would recommend you guys, do some more research if you are interested. I'm obviously not a reporter, and that's not what we are here, so can't give you the update information. But hopefully things will settle down relatively soon. Thank you so much for attending. If you do have other questions about Metaverse HQ, what we do, you are welcome to check out our website at mvhq.io. That's the best place to get all the information and resources. You can also DM our Twitter account or myself and Jake. And yes, thank you once again. Here is Mavia, Tristan. It's really been a blast. Super excited. And I will see you all soon.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, y'all.